out to pass him on the outside or the inside, you'll run into the marbles and you'll spin out. So you just have to be very, very patient and wait your turn to get around him.
Hurley Haywood, who joined Team Jaguar in 1984, replacing Pat Bedard, and what a great addition he's been. Now there's the leader, that is Redmond, but there's another story developing, and that is that car number 14, the Porsche, and you can see the bodywork a little loose on the right side of that car. Remember that incident earlier with a lap car up on the banking, and the car got squirrely and got loose? I think he may have broken something at that time.
Well, we certainly hope it's not too desperately damaged, but it certainly doesn't look very good on this picture, and there's quite a few laps to go yet in this race. But what's interesting is this car number 14,
that's the story,
is also being wound in by the other Jaguar. Number 44 is only just about 2 seconds behind him now.
Chip Robinson in the second Jaguar is closing rapidly on car number 14. As they enter turn number 1, it's down to about 15-20 car lengths. Derek Bell trying to hold on for second place. The odds-on favorite to take it all today is now fighting to sustain second from the Jaguar to keep them from a total sweep. And there you see the two of them at turn number 3. Live on Superstation WTBS, the Charlotte Grand Prix. A beautiful day, a packed infield.
Now,
got a little
not the sort of thing you expect to see. Yeah, not the sort of thing you expect to see Superposer do. I mean, this may be Superstation. We have Superposer in the second spot there.
It's what economic, you would say, some agricultural racing there, Hobbs.
Yeah, perhaps he's got a brake pulling problem or something. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But the Jaguar of Chip Robinson, who's also turned into be an incredibly good GTP driver, is dragging in.
Third period over in the NBA playoffs this afternoon. It's Philadelphia 85 and the Boston Celtics 74. 85-74. Philadelphia leading Boston. Monaco Grand Prix has been completed today. We'll give you the story on that shortly. Let's continue to focus on this battle up front. Here's the leader. It's number 04, Brian Redmond for Team Jaguar in front, trying to score their second win of the season. 10 races left in the championship following today. Next, they move on to Lime Rock, Connecticut on Monday, May the 27th. Then June the 9th will be at Mid-Ohio, Jim Truman's beautiful facility, Mid-Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio. Then July 7th, Watkins Glen, New York for the 3 hours there. July the 28th will be in Portland, Oregon. August 4th at Sears Point, California. August 25th at Road America. Then September 8th, Pocono. Then back to Watkins Glen in September on the 29th. Columbus, Ohio has a road circuit being built, and they'll be there October 5th. They conclude the season with the Daytona 3 hours in November on the Thanksgiving weekend.
There we see the leading Jaguar, and that bodywork does look very, very loose. It doesn't look damaged, but it certainly has got a bad attack of the flaps.
Let's go to Dave Despain.
We've got a good manufacturer battle going on in the Camel Light division today here as a Mazda Argo leads the race. Another one runs third, and sandwiched in the middle, a Buick Regal. Several interesting stories. The Marsh Pauley, number 93, had a broken shifter. Early in the race, fell somewhere down in here in the rundown. They've scrambled back into third and are 13th overall. But the real battle is up here. Currently running 8th and 9th overall, and that's very strong for these Camel Light cars, are Jim Downing and John Mafucci leading the race despite not having the cool suit technology and suffering a bit from the heat. The real story, though, is car number 6. Charlie Morgan with his broken shoulder and Bill Alsop in the Buick Regal. They say they can run down the leaders and win this race hands down, except for one problem, and that is fuel consumption. The first time out, they got 4.7 miles per gallon and thought no problem, 2 stops and were home free. They came in after the second stop and found they were only getting 3.9 miles per gallon, and at that rate, they'd come up short by a lap, so now they have no idea whether they can finish the race on the fuel that they have. If they've got enough gas to go to the end, they know they can win, or at least they think they can win over Downing and Mafucci. If not, who knows? That's the story on the Camel Light division. Now let's go back to pit road and Chris Economaki.
Well, I was just here with Al Holbert a moment ago, and he said, well, stepped away. The question I was going to ask him, and maybe we could just sort of walk over there and get him, was what kind of orders Derek Bell is operating under and that he's losing ground. Al? Al, you got a second here? Here he is here. He's talking with one of his team members. He too is apparently concerned about this diminution of position in his number 14 car. We'll have him in just a moment. There's an area of calm here in this pit, and it may well be that they're trying to conserve fuel to get to the checkered flag on the fuel that's on board. Al, we're wondering what kind of orders Derek Bell is racing under because he's losing ground.
He's pretty much under his own. The only orders are the same as they were at the beginning, is to drive without sliding the car around. I think you'll see him start to run a little quicker as the fuel burns off, because we've had a problem abusing the tire when we had a full load of fuel. When he gets down to maybe a half a load, I hope we'll see him go quicker.
What are your feelings right now about the ability to win?
Well, I know the car's quick enough. If Derek can, you know, I know Derek's quick enough if he can get it through by taking care of everything. I think we can win.
Okay, a man of confidence, but not definite confidence. Back to you, Ken.
It's always calm there. You know, Chris was talking about how calm it was down there at Sebring. They lost a wheel, and they fought their way back to second place, and throughout that entire endeavor, Al Holbert never changes that poise. Here he is, watching his car, number 14, now being challenged by the Bob Tullius Jaguar, number 44, Chip Robinson. Here's the leader, 04, that's Brian Redmond. But the battle continues to heat up for second place. The number 14, that is now being driven by Derek Bell, is really feeling a tremendous amount of pressure through the infield portion of the course. There's Brian Redmond, the man who was leading here in the Charlotte Grand Prix, live today on the Superstation. Here we are at 1,500-foot back straightaway.
Body still flapping rather badly there. Obviously, I hope that it doesn't come off, which would cause him a tremendous amount of grief, and it would take away a very, very strong looking car to win this race. But Al Holbert is lagging a bit behind. He's even further behind than he was before, and Brian's driving so smoothly, and you can see from these pictures just how smooth that car is in the infield, which only reinforces what Hurley Haywood was saying earlier on about it being the best handling car in the infield.
Weren't you and Brian Redmond teammates for some time?
Well, we've raced against each other many, many times, and we've only been teamed together a couple of times. I'm glad to say that on both occasions we won the race. So yes, we haven't done as much together as I'd like to have done.
Here's Brian Redmond, now out of Jacksonville, Florida, originally from Great Britain, leading the event in this 12-cylinder Jaguar, staying in front and continuing to build on his lead. Meanwhile, Al Holbert's car, with Derek Bell driving it, look at that bodywork, continue to rumble around to the back of the car. They do flap a bit, those Jags at the back anyway, but not that much, and it doesn't look quite right to me. But there we see Al Holbert in the number 2 spot, and the third car, Chip Robinson, not too far behind him. Here's your battle for second and third developing. 97 of 138 laps now complete. And it looks like Derek Bell is beginning to get some length. For a while, the Jaguar was pulling right up behind him. Now, as that fuel load begins to lighten up, that may be changing somewhat out here. You see the number 14 running in second place. Al Holbert was telling me he said when you go down into that back straightaway, you say, I'm going into turn 3 flat out. So you say it midway down the back stretch. Then what happens when you get to the turn, you lift about a third. On pit road comes one of the Jaguars, number 44. That is the third place car. Chip Robinson comes on to pit road. There's the lead car, number 04, but the second Jaguar is on pit road at this moment. 44, which had been trying to close in on the Holbert Bell team, is on pit road for its final stop.
I'm pretty sure that's an unscheduled stop, because Bob Tullius came jumping over the wall then in case he was needed, but he had the look of a man that wasn't expecting to get over the wall.
Administering to car number 44. Jaguar trying to make it a sweep, as they did earlier this year. We'll be checking shortly as to whether or not this is an unscheduled stop. There's no driver change here. You can see Tullius still putting on his gloves, so that was an irregular stop on pit road, and now they're back on pit road, and that is definitely unscheduled for car number 44.
So that puts him just a lap down. Brian Redmond, here he is, 04, is just coming up on that 44 car.
Jaguar continues to lead here today. Brian Redmond stays out in front in our live flag-to-flag coverage of the Charlotte Grand Prix on the Superstation.
Charlotte Motor Speedway, where the Jaguar that's leading this race is making a pit stop right now. This is a scheduled pit stop, and a driver change is coming up. Hurley Haywood is going to relieve Brian Redmond in that car right now. Brian is driving with a torn rib cage ligament. It's very painful for him on the banking. The G-forces are terrific up there. So Hurley, despite the fact that he is driving with a cast on his foot from a broken leg last year, is going to get back in the car and finish the race.
You could see them having trouble with the bodywork, David, as he tried to get that door opened up.
Yeah, but of course the other thing is all these drivers are connected with these cool suits. I think he had a bit of a job unplugging his cool suit. There's Hurley trying to plug his in now. And they really could be doing with being on their way because they finished putting fuel in the car. And this driver change is taking rather a long time.
Jerry Garrett, what about it? Was that other stop on 44? Can you give us a report on what that was all about?
Well, we're with Bob Tullius down here. Bob, was that last stop on number 44 scheduled?
Well, it was and it wasn't. He came in a little bit early, but we were going to have to make another pit stop anyhow. We needed a right rear tire. He felt it was time. It got a little loose up in the bank and felt that it was more comfortable if he'd got a new tire on it. And the fuel, we could go the rest of the way now, but he came a little early, and we're a little concerned about that, but we feel it's okay at this stage.
Now, they're taping up the bodywork on the back of the 04 car. What's the problem there?
I couldn't see what that problem was, and apparently they taped it up on the first stop and just were redoing it again, but apparently there's a Zeus fastener came loose or something. The track's very rough in a couple of spots, and getting the bodywork to stay on is very difficult.
You don't think that's a major problem at this point?
I really don't. It's in the back where the airstream will keep it down no matter what happens, and unless there's something unusual occur, it'll be all right.
Well, Ken, the Jaguars still running strong.
Number 14 has now taken over the lead. Number 14 has gone out in front, and we have the possibility of Al Holbert and Derek Bell putting it all together to win today. Redmond and Haywood are running in the second position. The Tullius Robinson car in third. Busby Knoop is in fourth. The Shelton brothers are in fifth. You saw one of the Leon twins car, number 22, out of Dallas, Texas, line off the course, just off turn 2, coming to a halt down there. Meanwhile, car number 14 with those pit stops in the Jaguar is back in front. Holbert and Bell seem to have it going their way at this time, David Hobbs.
Well, they usually do, old Jamie Derrick, but that was a terrible pit stop. It took them forever, and not only did the Bell Holbert car get in front, it took a lap off them. It's a lap in front now. So unless something dramatic happens, that's the Jaguars can kiss this race goodbye.
Long pit stop, something to miss in how they were getting those driver changes made and getting that car reshot on tires and fueled up. Monaco Grand Prix results are in, and at Monaco today, Alain Prost has come home victorious for Team McLaren. Michele Alboreto finished second for Ferrari. Emilio De Angelis, who just won that race at San Marino, and everybody ran out of fuel, finished third. Andre de Crasheris, your old Val de Cesaris, has finished in fourth. Derek Warwick fifth. And the statesman of Formula One racing these days, Jacques Lafitte, finished in the sixth position. Prost winning at Monaco. We'll see the story next week on the Superstation's Motor Week Illustrated at 5:35 next Saturday afternoon. The Monaco Grand Prix won by Prost. That's car number 96 looping, coming to a rest down in the infield. Number 96 off the course. Car pulls in, comes to a halt. That is the Tom Hessert car, and Steve Durst out of New Jersey. That's the Harrier.
Another Mazda engined Camel Light car.
That Tom Hessert is the nephew of Dr. Ed Hessert, who was a Grand National racer for many years and passed away a few years ago. Tom Hessert walking away from his Mazda Harrier, British-made car, and it comes to rest down just off the banking. Here's Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center.
Tom Hessert and Steve Durst may join the attrition list here at the STP Pit Communications Center. They'll check that car out. Latest to join that list is Jim Truman, who had been as high as 8th overall. The Truman-Heimrath entry came into the pits, tried to leave, wouldn't go anywhere. They suspect it's a broken input shaft, or drive shaft, if you will. Truman will be off to Indy now, where he has a car, a Red Roof Inn machine with Bobby Rahal sitting on the front row. The Ludwig Bundy car, the Ford Probe, went to the garage after the big fire, had a shower. They cleaned all the fire extinguisher debris off and said, yes, we're going to get it back into the race. And then they checked it out a little more thoroughly and said, nah, we can't. So the Ford entry is out for the day. Ken?
The Porsche 962 of Al Holbert and Derek Bell now leads the event, and they have a one-lap advantage. First time that Bell has been with Holbert since Sebring back in March when they ran to that second place.
That's right, after they had a bit of a first lap fracas, but they did come through in second spot.
They've set this car up to run the banking, the 24-degree north turn of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. You always set a car up for the one place where you're going to get the most advantage, and I guess in everyone's mind that banking was what was going to make the difference here, David.
Well, yes, because it's the longest corner here and you're going the fastest through it, so if you can pick pick up a few tenths of a second there, the car travels a lot further distance than it would if you pick up a few tenths of a second through one of these slow infield corners. So that's the corner to aim for. And if you can go through there flat out, even better still. But I noticed in the flame out on these cars going into that banking that virtually nobody is in fact going around there flat out.
Al Holbert celebrating his first anniversary with the 962 here at the Charlotte race. A year ago, he took delivery from Stuttgart on that first car, and they've won 7 races out of 17 since.
Back live at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where less than 30 laps remain in the Charlotte Camel GT Grand Prix. Al Holbert still leads this race. Derek Bell driving that car right now, but with me at the moment is Brian Redmond, who is leading for many laps. Brian, you've just gotten out. What was the thing that caused that pit stop to be so long?
Hurley couldn't get the belts passing. That was the main problem.
Now, the belts were about the same size guys, but yes, they didn't have to be adjusted.
We normally don't adjust them. One driver gets in, the other gets out without adjusting them. But today, I must have shrunk because the belt was too tight for Hurley.
Now, they taped up the rear body work on that pit stop. What was the problem with that?
No, I know nothing about it. I don't know, but I touched the wall at 180 miles an hour in the top lane in turn 4 early in my session.
Now, you said at the top of the show that the Porsches were fast, but the cats were going to eat them alive. Now, what's your strategy to pull this race out?
We can't do anything. All we can do is go as fast as we can, which is what we've been doing all day. We can't do anything else. If the Porsche doesn't have a problem, it will win. It's faster than we are. That's the story.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jerry Garrett. That was Brian Redmond, who has given the Jaguar fans a lot to cheer for today here at the Charlotte Grand Prix as he put that car through its paces up in front, and he talked about touching the wall at 180 miles an hour. You saw it here earlier today in our live flag-to-flag coverage. As we get down to 30 laps to go, there's the man to watch. It's Derek Bell, the 3-time winner of Le Mans, 1979, 81, and 82. He is now at the command of that 962 for the Al Holbert team, and he is pulling away from the field. He has a lap advantage on Tullius and Robinson in second place, the Redmond Haywood car in third, Busby Knoop in fourth, the Shelton brothers in fifth.
Yeah, he's got about a lap and 20-odd seconds, lap and 25 seconds on the field, so he's in pretty good shape. He can really take care of the car, and maybe, as Al said earlier on, Al Holbert is co-driver, he may be able to get through this race without stopping against the field.
The editor-publisher of the National Speed Sport News, Chris Economaki, ready with this story.
Well, we just talked with Al Holbert about the situation between now and the checkered flag, and lo and behold, they are going to stop again, and with a smile he said just to be on the safe side, which means the Jaguar may still have a chance. That stuck throttle that he talked about earlier today was repaired with the addition of a second throttle return spring, so they've had a little difficulties with that car that took some fixing. It's out running nicely now, but there will be a precautionary fuel stop made between now and the time the day is done. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you very much, Chris. Here's the latest standings from Dover this afternoon. At Dover, Delaware, in the Winston Cup race, Bill Elliott is in front with 350 miles complete. Jeff Bodine is running in second. Kyle Petty is third. Harry Gant is in fourth, and Ricky Rudd is in fifth. Those stock cars come back to Charlotte, North Carolina for the World 600 on the Oval here at Charlotte next Sunday. And, of course, Elliott's going for $2 million if he wins the race. He has $1 million bonus, Hobbs, if he can win here next week.
Yeah, well, before the start of this IMSA race today, the drivers were told to behave in a professional manner in front of a crowd that's used to watching stock car drivers. And I did feel like adding an aside that maybe when they race with the professional money that's given in NASCAR, that might encourage some more professional driving and more professional teams when the whole purse for this race is equal to about half what the winner will get next week. That's unless Bill, of course, wins another $1 million on top of that.
110 laps are now complete here this afternoon. David Hobbs, I'm Ken Squire. Along trackside at the STP Pit Center is Dave Despain, Chris Economaki, Jerry Garrett with us this afternoon to bring you the action of the Charlotte Grand Prix. And right now, the 962, one of the most exotic cars ever created, is out in front. The Jaguar still giving chase late in the going. And now the word is that number 14 will make one more pit stop. And depending on the length of that stop, this car, number 44, tagging along a lap down, could have a place to pounce from and jump back into the lead here.
Could do, but
long jump.
Yeah, a long jump, because he is now just lapped him. He's a minute and a lap and 25 seconds in front of the second Jaguar. And quite honestly, if they do make a fuel stop, it'll be a quick one. Probably only cost them 45 seconds or so.
Back to Chris Economaki.
Well, they're getting ready now for this fuel stop, but there's also tires being brought out. We've got a stopwatch in hand, and when he stops, you can come back to me and we'll give you a full report on what what's being done and how long it all takes.
All right, Chris is standing by as we wait on this stop. Coming up for car number 14 as we get down to the end of this event.
Of course, like Grand National racing, a pit stop is a lot longer than just the time you see the car in the pits. It's no good putting the stopwatch when it stops and then when it leaves and say, oh, that was great, that was a 10-second stop. There's a long unwind and a very long wind up afterwards. So like a 10-second stop turns into like a 40-second stop.
And it takes longer to wind the 962 than it does anything else here.
Well, probably, yes. It's ultimate top speed, right.
Were you surprised?
Here he comes
now. Here comes number 14 on pit road. Let's go to Chris Economaki standing by in the number 14 pits.
Al Holbert is all suited up. It looks as though he's ready to get in, but whether he will or not is up to Derek Bell. And Bell is signaling with some hand signals here, and Holbert is just standing here, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a driver change. It's right side tires at this point. Bell looks okay, except he looks very hot. His face is covered with sweat. So far, 18 seconds of a lap in the pits here. Car's down and up. He stalled it. And now they're having to push it. And that's what was Klaus Ludwig's 24.6 seconds for that pit stop. And it was that exact problem that caused Klaus Ludwig's Mustang Probe to go up in flames. Derek Bell stalled the car. A quick push by this alert crew when he got it going again. He's back out there, they say, 24.60 seconds the time the car was at rest. Back to you, Ken and David.
Well, 24 seconds isn't going to make much of a dent in his lead, quite honestly, even allowing for stopping and starting. They obviously didn't put much fuel in it, so that I wouldn't think the car will be running full. So, again, to go back to what Al Holbert said earlier about running full and wearing the tyres or making them heat up, he's not going to have that problem. So if he does get pushed, he can always turn the boost up a little bit and go even faster. So, all in all, pretty bad news for the Jaguar fans.
Winner of the 1985 Miami Grand Prix, number 14, trying to win here at Charlotte today. Back goes the 962 onto the south end of the super speedway here. And coming back to full song is car number 14. Getting its throat cleared out after that stop on pit road of less than 30 seconds. And it still maintains its advantage over the Jaguars, running in second and third. Busby and Nuke running in fourth with the BF Goodrich 962. And the Jim Downing car has now moved to fifth overall. The Camel Light car, number 63 of Jim Downing, is in fifth. The Alsop car is in sixth. The Shelton brothers still showing in seventh. The Marsh Pauley car is running in eighth. Greenfield and Herlin in ninth. And in 10th is Gene Felton in number 47.
And there we see the battle for 8th place between Shelton in the Chevy March and the third car in the Camel Light. There we see the Pontiac of Gene Felton, number 47, the 92 car, the Rusty Jones car, the little Mazda engine car again. And they're having at it there for 7th and 8th spot. Camel Light car not giving much up on that big engine car as they go through the infield. These corners much more advantageous to the prototype type car rather than the more stock car that Felton's driving. As you can see there, a lot of ground is made up on that infield turn there. Another couple of complexes coming up here as the Rusty Jones car makes ground on. And there we see the Shelton car, that car.
It's number 62, the Shelton car. Chevy March of the Shelton brothers, Steve and Tom from Fort Lauderdale, coming to rest here this afternoon. The Chevy March will be a DNF with 114 of 138 laps complete. In the Charlotte Grand Prix, the Sheltons, who have been running in seventh, find themselves in the grass.
Well, I wouldn't say they're out, because we've seen lots of cars stop out there and miraculously a few laps later they suddenly reappear. I'm not quite sure how they, sort of like magic, they're suddenly back there on the track.
Well, he couldn't pick the place too much further away.
No, he looks like he really is out, yeah.
The Shelton brothers, who formed this team for the 1985 IMSA season, and were having a very good day, but it was not to continue for them. Number 62 looks to be a DNF.
It's a mighty long way from home.
They're Ferrari dealers down in that part of the country, and they want to very much bring out a Ferrari effort in the coming season. There's the leader once again, Derek Bell, car number 14. The Charlotte Grand Prix, very much his at this time. The three-time winner of Le Mans, won Laguna Seca 2 weeks ago with this team, and they won at Miami. Now trying to win Charlotte, keep themselves right up in the point hunt, and they are up in lap traffic and coming up on Gene Shelton, the winningest driver in the history of IMSA. He goes into turn number 1. He clears the lap traffic and continues to dominate the event. Holbert and Bell leading the Charlotte Grand Prix of 1985. The Jaguar, number 44, slowing dramatically. The second place car in the Charlotte Grand Prix is now pulling on pit road. He's been running very slowly around the course. Limps in. This is the second place car in the race. This will project the Redmond Haywood car up into second place. The way things look now, this happening at the 118th lap of 138 to be run. Car 44 is in. We saw the driver with his hand out as he came off the super speedway.
All sorts of throat-cutting signs from the crew there that look as if maybe something's gone wrong with the engine.
Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Well, the engine has been shut off down here, Ken. Bob Tullius had his helmet on there for a moment, but he took it off. It looks like it's terminal. The crew chief is looking underneath the car, says there's no hope for it. The driver is going to get out of it. Chip Robinson, they're done for the day after a very nice drive.
It's too bad for that Jaguar team. That leaves them with one hope, and that continues to be with the Redmond Haywood organization. The 04 now moves up one position into the second spot overall in the race. Now, the average speed is staying at 105.443 miles per hour, which means we'll have a new record. The old record, 103.731 miles per hour, was the Lanier Whittington mark in a Chevy March just a year back.
Well, the pressure's really off Derek Bell now, because in fact, he has, there we see the Chip Robinson coming out.
All right, let's go to Jerry Garrett.
We're down. We're going to try and get a word with Chip, but they're doing the belts back up on him right now. They're going to leave him in the car for the moment. I don't know exactly what they're going to do just yet. They're going to try and get the thing restarted, perhaps, to see if they can just chug around and earn some points here, Ken.
For Robinson, remember, he is running second in the overall GT prototype driver standings. Al Holbert is leading with 84 points. Robinson in second with 62, and they want those points. A lot of additional money coming in this year. Here he comes back on the course, number 44, limping back on.
Ooh, water coming out the side there, just under the driver's door. Do you see it as he spun around? That doesn't look good at all. He'll be most unpopular if he sees that in the middle of the banking in front of Derek Bell.
Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Bob Tullius, the co-driver in that car. You look like you were done, Bob. Now you're back out.
Well, the gearbox has failed. Third gear's gone completely, and there's a lot of junk flying around inside the gearbox. We're just taking a shot at see if we can get it to finish. It's not going to finish strong, but at least it'll finish. And Chip is second in points, and well, he can use the points. So there's a worthwhile effort there. It's a little dangerous, and we're concerned about that aspect of it, but a little luck would be all right.
Car number 44 comes back on the course, fourth overall in the Charlotte Grand Prix. Holbert and Bell continuing to dominate. 962, that Porsche which has shown its colors so many times, just rolling over the competition. David Hobbs is doing just that again this afternoon.
Well, it certainly was given more of a run for its money than I thought it would be. The Ford Probe was very unfortunate to drop out early. The Jaguar was not mechanical. Okay, mechanical failure on the Chip Robinson car, but just a very bad pit stop put Brian and Hurley Haywood out of the running, which is a great shame. And the Busby cars, the Goodrich cars, just haven't been quite up to snuff, which I guess on a track like this you would really expect.
Jim Downing continues to lead in the Camel Light Series. The number 63 car stays fifth overall and leads in Camel Light. The Morgan Alsop car in second, the Mosh Pauley car third in that category. Here's number 14 back in the infield once again as they come to the 120th lap. Of course, they've had their times when they've come right to the finish and then had it all go away.
Well, things could go wrong, but I think Chris Economaki has some pearls of wisdom for us down in pit lane.
Well, they're grains of wisdom, not pearls. Jim Busby said earlier today that the asphalt is granulating off the surface of the track, and he showed a few specks on his uniform. Let's take a look at the wheels they took off the leading Porsche here. This is the inside of the front wheel on number 14, and this is all asphalt that's inside the wheel that's throwing it out.